Hey guys, it's Dawn here. Thanks for being here with me today, and I'm just going to go right back into it. This is a continuation of part one, where I introduce myself and I start showing you some of the different gear and recommendations that I use. And we're just going to keep going. So we ended at stitch markers, and now I'm going to show you yarn bowls. There are yarn bowls like this. And then there's different types. There's ones that are taller, and then there are ones that are shallower. I think I like the shallower one better. I don't really like this one. It's a really nice bowl, but yarn bowls are, I think they're really overpriced. You can just get a regular bowl. Now, the reason why I don't like this bowl so much is that when I do have, I don't know, a lot of yarns are like this. I can't really do much with it. And then if I have a ball, it would need to be a small ball to fit into here. So I would need a bigger bowl. And I just think the shallower, more open top would let it roll more. So the whole point of the yarn bowl, I didn't bring a yarn cake with me. I think it works best with a yarn cake. Or a round ball of yarn, and the point is, as you're pulling the yarn, it will just go inside and not come out, and then you can have the yarn, you know, in these little thingies or in through. Now this one I got, it's got little imperfections and the yarn catches inside there because these were not sanded. So then I'm like, okay, great, now I have to go and sand inside there, and I just can't be bothered. Plus, I don't pull my yarn that way. I like having my stuff down below, and then I actually, my yarn comes up through the top. So actually what I found is that this little coconut shell bowl is perfect. And it's perfect because it doesn't stay still. It's got a rounded bottom and it's not stable. Here, let's just try to get you. All right, let's point this down a little bit. Hold on, we're moving you. There we go. All right, so you see how this wobbles? So I found that when I put my yarn in there, it will turn. Instead of my yarn needing to turn inside of a bowl, the bowl itself can turn. And so that makes it perfect. Plus, remember I said I wanted a shallow, wide top bowl? All right. So anyways, you get the idea. Now, if this was bigger, that would be even more perfect. But as it is, I love working off of this one because as I'm pulling my yarn, my little bowl just spins and it's secure. And if my little bowl is inside my big bowl, my big project bowl, then it can, well, right now it can't spin because I've got too much junk under it. But when there's no junk in my project bowl, it'll just spin inside my project bowl, and I don't have to worry about my yarn getting away from me. So right now this is just one big, because I'm getting to the end of it, one big mess. And I go for them now. Now, pulling from the inside or the outside. I pull from the center. I like pulling my yarn from the center because that means that as I'm pulling, it's going to have the least amount of spinning. When you're pulling from the outside, then the whole thing needs to spin around. And especially if you got like this, then the whole thing needs to unravel, right? So the whole thing's spinning around. But when you're pulling from the center, then it will just keep coming out the center, and this thing stays relatively still. So I actually don't use this yarn bowl. I got this yarn bowl. It was all like, you know, and I don't use it much except to stick something in it that's static. But yeah, I just use my project bowl and then I just pull out the end over here. So yarn bowls, I would say look for wooden If you like this coconut shell bowl, it has the resin on the inside. I love this bowl, but it's limited because of its size. If it was a bigger one with a rounded bottom that allows it to spin, that would make it even better. All of these holes and stuff, I find that kind of useless because, like I say, I just put this and then I'm working above it and it just feeds like that. Or I can have it, you know, way over here and I work, but still the yarn's coming like, so anyways. Okay, so yarn bowls, don't, if you want one, definitely get it, but don't fall into the hype. You definitely don't need a specific yarn bowl. Any wooden or any bowl will work. Okay, so rings. Oh, scissors. I like my pretty embroidery scissors that I'm using for this, but once again, you can use whatever. There's all the different cutters, and I showed you the little round cutters. Those are nice. This type of needle threader is really handy for threading the darning needles. And I can just put my needle threader right there on this magnet. And over here on my bowl I have this magnet covered in yarn, so it's pretty. And here I have a bunch of different darning needles. And on my list I do want to get some curved darning needles, and they also come in plastic. If you get a kit, the kit will probably have a plastic darning needle as well, but it's just you know, needle with a big fat eye so that it's easy to thread the yarn through it. Let's see, another very handy thing, where did mine go? Oh, it's right here. I have a little notebook. This is just a little teeny tiny one I got from the dollar store, I think Daiso store. And like when I make my picot headbands, here are my notes. For row 1, we're going to do a foundation, half double crochet, then chain 1 and turn. Row 2 is a single crochet, back loop only, chain 1 and turn. Row 3, we're going to do single crochets, then the picot single crochet, then a single crochet, then chain 1 and turn at the end. Row 4 is single crochet, chain 1 and turn. Row 5 is half double crochets, chain 1 and turn. Row 6, single crochet, back loop only, chain 1 and turn. And then rows 7 to 14, if you're an adult, repeat rows 3 and 6. If it's for a kid, then you only go to row 10. This is actually the pattern for these picot headbands from Turtle something on YouTube. This is not mine. She gets all the credit, but it basically, this makes this. And then I also write down my little notes on the mittens with the Suzette stitch, if I'm using the 4mm hook, the Red Heart Unforgettable. If I do 46 chains, it's 9.5 inches long, and 44. So any little notes like that, because I keep saying that I'm not going to forget, and I do forget. So I cannot trust myself. I need to write it down. So a little notebook and my little notebook and pen is very, very handy and a must-have. This is not a must-have, but I do like it. Oh, I don't have the little hand there. You can buy toppers that go, oh, I have the H8 on here right now. You can buy little toppers for your crochet hook. And a topper, what it does, it has several different uses. Hang on while I find the 5 I was working with. F5. The most common hooks that I'm using are anywhere from 4 to 6. 4, 5, 6, I think, something like that. All right, so, and basically you just stick it onto the top like that. And what it does is it protects it. It protects the tip of your hook because, I mean, it's so delicate. It protects it when it's not in use. It can also, if you have work in progress on your hook and you just want to step away for a second, instead of undoing everything and putting on the stitch marker and, you know, setting it away for a longer period, you just leave everything in there. You just grab this topper and you just stick it right in. That will prevent the yarn from just falling off of the hook. So it protects the hook and it prevents your work from falling off. My daughter, when I showed my daughter what I wanted these for, she made these out of polymer clay for me, and then I baked them, and it's just the right size. It's just a little hole, but it has a little grippy to it, so it holds on there perfectly. So she made these little ones, and so that's another cute little project. And of course you might have to make different sizes, and also you can just buy them. You can buy, they are called needle toppers, knitting needle toppers, something like that. People say, oh, it's just for knitting, but I use it for my crochet hook too because it works perfect just for that. All right, so there is that. It is not a must-have, but I think they're super cute, and I love having little super cute things. I just surround myself with little super cute things. Okay. Let's see. We have yarn rings. Yarn rings, to me, are a must-have. And I've been experimenting with a whole bunch of different ones. Here we go. So yarn rings will help you with tension. It'll help you with gripping. My most favorite type of yarn ring is this one. It is a peacock one, okay? They come in so many different kinds, but they will all work differently. The peacock one has a rest here and a rest here. And then it has other little things. So this one, I think, overall is my most used one. They have little fox ones. The fox ones, it doesn't really have a lot of grip anywhere. But they call it a yarn ring because you just slip the yarn right in there and it'll just kind of hold it. Fox one is not that great, but it can be great as the second ring. So then there's this one. This one is okay, but I find that this little thing, because it has a sharp tip right there, and it's so tiny that unless if you're using a very tiny yarn, it will get stuck in there and it'll catch and it'll split the yarn because of that little tip. This one is all fancy. And it looks like my other peacock one, but it is actually joined right there. So I can't quite use it like my other one. And then once again, these little spikies, and this little tip right there, it likes to catch, the yarn and split it. So the difference is the top one has a much bigger little well here for the yarn, so the yarn sits under that little beak, whereas this one has a shallower tip, and so the yarn catches and splits on this. So this one is not that great. If you don't need something super grippy, these are fidget rings. Any kind of adjustable fidgety ringy type, or open, they're called open. Sometimes they're called open adjustable rings like that. You can just use that if you just want to use the band itself. Here is another open ring that if you just want to use the band and you don't necessarily want any hooks on it. So let's see, I showed you the fox, this one is pretty, so I got it, but once again, too shallow at the head over here. Oh, there's a kitty one. The kitty one is nice because it does very similarly to this style. It does have a hook here, which this one is a little tail, and it does have a very nice wide for bigger threads and stuff. The only thing is that this is so small and minimal, it tends to want to pull and move, whereas this one has more of a grip onto my finger, and so it resists pulling when it's tight. Here, this is a fidget ring, and this is not meant to be a yarn ring, but it's this style. And so this, you absolutely can use that for yarn, or you can even make your own. But making your own, I found that like this ring, it has a flat. It's flat where it meets your hand. And if you make your own with wire, wire is typically round, unless if you get the flat wire for jewelry making, then that'll work. And here is another open ring, but this one didn't work as well. So after trying all of the different ones, I would say my two favorites are this. Now, the reason that it might be good to have a skinny ring is if you're going to double up. And you would want to double up on the rings if you're using a yarn that is extremely slippery. And if you double up on it, it'll work better. All right, so what a yarn ring does, the purpose of it is it's going to be a guide for your yarn, and it's going to help with tension. Now, there are many different ways of using the yarn ring. And there is no wrong or right way. You just do whatever you like. So for me, a typical way that I would use it is to go ahead and put it on. I use my middle finger. You can put it on your pointer finger or whatever finger you want to put it on, basically. But this is how I do it, and I am weird, I know. And I loop it so that my working end is to the right. I'm just going to make a little U over here. And then I'm just going to take, this is my working end, and I'm going to just slip it under there, slip it under there, and pull back around. So basically what this does is my strand that goes to my yarn is going up away from me, and my working yarn is up and over, up and around her neck and pointing down to me. So everywhere that the yarn is touching my skin are points where it's going to have tension. And everywhere where it has a curve or a turn like this will also add tension. And I found that this combination, along with deciding how tightly I want to put, I can jam this all the way on, and this is going to be very tight to pull. And it's also going to make my finger turn red. Ooh, that was really tight. So I just put it on a snug enough to where when I pull it, it is not going to, well, when I pull it, I can feel there's tension, and I can maintain a tension, but it's not so tight that when I pull it, my whole ring just slips over, right? So you just play around with how tight you want this, and then you can see how much tension you want. See how this adds tension? Now, if this tension is too much, your yarn is too fat or whatever, you can use a different yarn ring that has a fatter, like my little kitty one. I do not see it. Oh, here it is. Like, if it was a fatter yarn, I could use this one that has a fatter. Or if the tension is too tight, I can just take it off of the tail. And now I'm just going like this. And this is actually going super easy. And these rings are adjustable, so you can squeeze and you can widen, like over here you can widen, but be very, very careful. I know by experience, if you're just rough and you just pull it, you would just break this in half immediately. These are like cheapo rings. I got, well, the ones I got were cheapo rings. It was like a 10 pack for $8 or something around there, okay? So now if I was using, this is a standard, I think this is Karen Simply Soft Speckled or something. If I am using this type of ring, which is Trubu or Nubu something like that. It's a bamboo, and it is very, very slippery and much finer. So once again, my working end is on the right. I'm holding the loop down here. I'm just going to slip it in this way, go under, slip it around this way. Now, I found that this ring will not hold this very well, not with enough tension that I need, because this bounces back up. So what I will do is I will have a second ring on here. And then I can decide how I want to place it and whatever. But basically all that this is going to do is it's going to allow me, it's going to give me more loops. So now I can find a way to loop it around that'll give me the perfect tension. Okay, so that is definitely an option and a reason why you might want to use double rings if you need to. But what I was trying to show you with the other ones, like this one, you try these different ones and you can see how they fit for you. But you see how the neck isn't giving this, and so what happens is, I don't know what happens, that little beak will catch and all of a sudden catch and then all of a sudden split. See how it's caught and then it splits my thread or something like that, and that just kind of sucks. So basically there's a lot of different options, and I've been messing around with a bunch of different things. The quality of these rings are not that great, so I've been trying to find a better quality. You see how this is even broken in there. I have different ones and they all have different little quality issues to them. But yeah, like this one has a little bump on the inside that's very uncomfortable, and I got to pull out my Dremel and fix that. But overall, this type, the peacock, is the best one that I found so far and what I like. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this here on the yarn rings, and I will continue on. We're going to go into making a slip stitch and creating our first foundation chain to start crocheting. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.